What's poppin' YouTube guys, you here? And with over 800 Pokemon, it would make sense why most of them will be based on animals. You have stuff like dogs, cats, birds, ice cream. Wait, not that last one, but you get the idea. The vast majority of Pokemon are based on animals, but for as much animals that have been made into Pokemon, there have also been a lot of animals that weren't yet made into Pokemon, which is why I'm bringing you the top 10 animals that, in my opinion, should be Pokemon. Number 10 is the llama. I'm honestly very surprised there hasn't been a llama Pokemon yet, since it's a very simplistic animal. It's just a fluffy camel. I see these llama Pokemon being early game Pokemon, like Deerling and Sawsbuck. It could basically just be a Pokemon based on the llama with an element attached to it, like Mareep, the electric sheep. And I imagine a llama Pokemon would also have one or two evolutions as well, since Pokemon like Mareep typically do. And I imagine if there were a llama Pokemon, it would be like Mareep or Shinx or stuff like that. Maybe it could be an electric type, who knows? Number 9 is a Dolphin. Again, I'm very surprised that one has not been a Pokemon yet. There have been a lot of fish Pokemon, and water is the most common type. So it would make sense why I would have a Dolphin, but surprisingly, there have not yet been ones. But guy, you might say, Gorbis and Lantern are dolphins. No, they're not. Lantern is an anglerfish and Gorbis is an eel. So, there has not yet been a dolphin Pokemon, surprisingly, which is really disappointing. It would be really cool to have a water psychic type dolphin that looks super cute and is really powerful. We're approaching Generation 8. We should have had one by now. And it's even more disappointing given how there was a Sun and Moon leak a while back when those games were coming out that said there was going to be a Dolphin Pokemon, but the Dolphin Pokemon ended up being Wishy-Washy, which is based on a school of fish. And it also said that Marshadow was going to be a dolphin. As cool as Marshadow is, it's not a dolphin. So I think it'll be really cool to have a super cool water and psychic type dolphin Pokemon with an evolution, and I could definitely see a fisherman using it. Number 8 is a snow leopard. There have been a lot of Pokemon based on big cats. We have stuff like a tiger, a lion, and even Leopard is based on a leopard. So why not a snow leopard? Snow leopards are pretty iconic animals. I could easily see there being a snow leopard Pokemon in the snowy part of the region. That's a literal snow leopard. It could be an ice type and could probably be caught late game. It could even be a regional variant of Leopard, since Leopard is already a leopard. It'll be really interesting to have another ice type regional variant alongside Ninetales and Sandslash, but we'll just have to wait and see. Number 7 is the Flamingo. When Spritzee was announced for Pokemon X and Y, it kind of looked like a bird. So a lot of us were hoping it would turn into a fairy and flying type Flamingo, but no. It turned into this thing. So I'm really hoping that sometime in the future, we do get a fairy and flying type Flamingo. Especially since Flamingos get their pink color from the shrimp they eat. So it could be really cool if somewhere in the game there's a big ass flamingo Pokemon that's normally white, but because it eats Magikarp all the time, it turns pink. I think that could be an interesting gimmick for a Pokemon. Like, maybe it could, when you catch it, it turns white, but when it's sent in battle, it's pink, or something like that. I think that could be a really cool gimmick for Game Freak to use, and I'm excited about that possibility. Number 6 is the Sabertooth Tiger. Fossil Pokemon have been a staple in the Pokemon games ever since Generation 1, and naturally they have been based on prehistoric animals. We've had arthropods, we've had arthropods, we've had dinosaurs, we've had plants, we even had the Archaeopteryx, but we don't have any mammals yet, which is weird because there are a lot of prehistoric animals. And perhaps most famous of the prehistoric mammals, as well as another big cat, is the Sabertooth Tiger. I think it could be really interesting if there was a fossil Pokemon that was a Sabertooth Tiger, and it could be a normal and rock type, with the fossil being the Fang fossil. And I know Raikou is already a Sabertooth Tiger, but he's a legendary. It would be cool if there was a regular Pokemon based on a Sabertooth Tiger, to sort of emphasize on how awesome the animal is. We did get a T-Rex after all. Number 5 is the cheetah. Another big cat, I know, but there's a lot of big cats just asking to be Pokemon, and the cheetah is one of them. Again, I'm very surprised that it's not a Pokemon yet, because again, we've had a lot of big cat Pokemon, and Leopard is a leopard, so I could definitely see an electric type cheetah whose main gimmick is that it's really fast. And it has the highest speeds out of any Pokemon, and I feel as though it could have a pre-evolution and possibly even be the ace of an electric type gym leader, like how Zebstrika is Elisa's ace in Black and White. Number 4 is the Capybara. The Capybara, of course, being the world's largest rodent. I think it could be really cool to see this giant guinea pig walk around in the Pokemon world. Possibly as an early game Pokemon. It could have a pre-evolution, but it could even be standard. And like the llama, it's a very basic animal, which allow for it to be an elemental type, like ice for example. And in addition, the name itself is just asking to be Pokemon material. If it's fighting type, you could call it Scrappybara, or if it's ground type, you could call it Capybara. And one of the things capybaras are most famous for is that they love water. So it could be that if we get a capybara Pokemon, it'll be normal in water, just like Bibarel. Which also makes me think that we could potentially see a capybara Pokemon as the regional normal type, and it'll evolve into a normal water capybara, just like Bibarel. Number 3 is the Tarsier, which is an animal who lives in the islands of Southeast Asia. It's super adorable and has super big eyes, and as such, should be made into a Pokemon. I feel like we already have a lot of monkey Pokemon, and recently we've had Passimian and the Rangaroo, so it'll be really cool if we have a Pokemon based on a Tarsier. Especially since it's a very strange animal already, so turning something that's basically a Pokemon into a Pokemon only makes the most sense. And since its eyes are so big, it could be a dark type or a psychic type or both. And that could be its lore, that it uses its big eyes to tell the future or something. And that's a really cool concept for a Pokemon that I think a lot of people would enjoy. Number 2 is the tardigrade, otherwise known as the moss piglet or water bear. It's a microscopic animal that's found pretty much everywhere in the world, but here's the thing. It's basically invincible. It can survive being in space, it can survive without food for 10 years, it can survive nuclear radiation. It's basically unstoppable. So how is it not a Pokemon? I can easily see a giant version of the tardigrade as a Pokemon. It could even be a legendary. And of course the name Water Bear could lead to it being water type and it having the nature of a bear, since I feel like that's something Game Freak would do. And even if it's not a legendary, I feel like it would work out really well as a standalone Pokemon. And of course its lore would be that it's practically invincible, so as such it's really hard to get. So it'll probably have a super low catch rate, which would be another reason to make it a legendary. And its design already reminds me of a Pokemon, so it wouldn't even really need to change much if it were to be made into a Pokemon. But maybe it should have eyes. A lot of Pokemon have eyes. And number 1 is the platypus. The platypus is the closest thing we have to a Pokemon. It's the mammal mixed with the bird that lays eggs, and it has poisonous spurs, but only in mating season. How the frick frackles is it not yet a Pokemon? There have been so many opportunities for a platypus Pokemon that just came and went. Even in the Alola, we got a koala Pokemon, but not a platypus Pokemon, which I think is really strange. I could definitely see a platypus Pokemon being water poisoned based on its poisonous spurs, or just being pure water, or possibly water flying since it's partially a bird. There could even be some lore about how when this Pokemon was first discovered, it was mistaken for a ducklet with a Bibarel tail, since that's basically what a platypus is. And of course for people like me who love Phineas and Ferb, it will also give us a reason to have Perry the Platypus as a Pokemon. And that was my list of the top 10 animals that should be Pokemon. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully some of these animals will become Pokemon in the future, and I'm super excited to release other top 10 videos in the channel at some point. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, be sure to smash that like button, ding that bell so you never miss a single alert, and subscribe to my channel. And without further ado, guys, you out.